Nathan, you've missed so much. The town's revamped, my 18th birthday.
I did send you that cameo from Olivia Rodrigo's horse.
That horse did not phone it in. I love an animal who knows her angles.
Regan, I really need your help.
Nathan, you had a little bit of a rough patch. But adversity makes us stronger.
No reeks.
Is this sweater too sexy?
For what?
What about a vest?
Awesome. Ed, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Congratulations. You now have 2 seasons under your belt. What about this show that explores all these complicated issues, yet is still belly laugh funny, are you most proud of?
I think, well, what you just said, I'm so proud of the show because it does have a lot of sort of sharp social satire and confronts some big issues, but also is just ridiculously funny and really silly at times. And then, of course, it's also a very landmark show in Native American representation. And I'm incredibly proud and humbled to be a part of a show that's doing that.
Absolutely. I mean, these stories wouldn't be able to be told unless you had these diverse voices in the writing room. So what has this experience taught you about the importance of having different perspectives in all of these different creative spaces?
Well, I will say that going into this show, I was arrogant enough to believe that I understood the value of representation already, and that I kind of, that I appreciated diversity, and that I kind of was like, aware of those things. And I think I was intellectually, but being in this writer's room with so many Native American writers who are so funny and generous with their comedy and with their stories. I was very humbled to kind of learn again, or kind of like learn in a new way, just how important representation is in telling stories, and in just having a writer's room with lots of people from lots of different backgrounds. I mean, even the Native American writers that we have they're from lots of different, very specific backgrounds within the Native American world. So it just can't be overstated. I mean, as a white person, it's very easy to kind of roll through life without appreciating that, or looking for those challenges, or looking to be challenged in those ways. But I will say, working on this show has been an incredibly eye-opening and affirming and exciting learning experience, and it still is, and I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of it.
That's so beautiful. I mean, have you heard from anybody in the industry about the moves that you're making to create more diversity within these spaces?
Certainly, we hear a lot from the Native American community, just about the way that this show is representing Native voices and a spectrum of Native experiences that just aren't seen or haven't been seen in comedy previously. That's something that I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, people take for granted, like, oh, there's stories out there about Native Americans. We've all seen this or that, but it's not until you actually hear it from the Native American community, hear the stories, and see the writing from the Native American communities, and see those voices telling these stories, that you can actually see and understand it in a new way. I think the industry is taking notice, and we're seeing a lot more. I mean, there are more shows like Reservation Dogs and others that are really kind of popping in really exciting ways. And we're seeing not just Native American representation, but representation in all different, across the board is growing. And that's just very meaningful and exciting, I think, for the industry and for the audience, for America.
Absolutely. And I guess you kind of just answered my next question with the answer of community. But what do you think it is from shows like your own to Schitt's Creek that these small town sitcoms are just resonating with people so much? Is it that feeling of connection after the pandemic?
Absolutely. I think even pre-pandemic, the best shows out there are the shows that draw an audience into a community. And I look at Cheers, I look at Taxi, I look at The Office, which I obviously was lucky enough to be a part of. I look at Parks and Rec. I'm a huge fan of the show out right now called Grand Crew that is just so funny. And I think that good shows make you want to be a part of a little team or a crew or an ensemble or a community. And as dysfunctional as it is, you still love all the characters. And I really hope that we've done that with Rutherford Falls and created a community of characters and an ensemble that is so endearing that you want to hang out with them and watch these episodes. I was going to say every week, but you can watch all the episodes at once.
You can do both. It's fine.
Yeah, sure. You can spread it out and watch it however you want.
Yeah, and you definitely created that community. I remember during Halloween, there were a ton of kids dressed up as the characters and getting really into this show. And it feels like that you guys have put so much into season 1. Did you feel any pressure to make season 2 just as successful and to accurately continue to keep representing Indigenous people in the same way?
Well, anytime you have the opportunity to create a season of television, whether it's a season 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, it's just such a huge gift and responsibility. And I know that season 1, we were very excited to kind of confront a lot of issues and tell a story that challenged audiences in some ways, while also making people laugh really, really hard. Mm-hmm. Then at the end of season 1, we kind of realized, wow, we've also built this great little ensemble with Jesse Leigh and Michael Greyeyes and my character and Jana Schmieding's character. And this is such a cool little ensemble. Maybe we can lean into that a little harder. So I think season 2, you're going to see all of the characters interacting together more, and it's just a little bit bolder. The satire is still there. There's still a lot of issues getting confronted in a fun way, but the laughs are much harder. And I actually think season 2 is more fun. It's like sillier. There's bigger stunts. There's big set pieces. I'm just incredibly.
Talked to Dustin, and I swear to you, he said the same thing. He was like, I don't know what it is or how the writers did this, but season 2 is actually better.
I hope so. I mean, yeah, things get better with age, right? Rutherford Falls is like a fine wine. It just ages well.
We love to hear that. So where does season 2 bring us?
So, Rutherford Falls, the town, and the Minnesota Nation, the reservation right next door, they're still very much kind of separate communities, but one community. And Nathan is crash landing from his crazy identity crisis. Reagan has a very exciting season with she's really finding her power. And finding some leadership roles and stepping into that with I think a lot of enthusiasm and dysfunction, and she has Reagan has a great love story through this season. Nathan's love story is also great, but very, very messy and kind of a train wreck. And they're still confronting their pasts in surprising ways. And yeah. Oh, and Jesse Leigh's character, Bobby Yang, is running for mayor, and they're a hell of a candidate.
Well, I am very excited. And like we said, it is a comedy. There are so many belly laughs. Is there one storyline this season that just gives you pure joy that you just keep coming back to?
Yeah, I think episode 4 kind of stands out for me because there's just a lot going on there. Reagan and Terry, Michael Greyeyes' character, they're invited to be consultants on a TV show that's a Native American, that has like very problematic Native American representation. And they sort of get put through the ringer on the set of this TV show. And meanwhile, Nathan and Bobby go to New York City to confront Rutherford Incorporated, this sort of giant corporate branch of the family business, in some ridiculous ways. And it's all happening at once, and they're all in the city. You gotta watch it.
Oh, I will watch it. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today, and I'm so excited to watch the second season.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Terry, Regan's in a res fight.
Oh, tell her if she hits the ground, it's over.
Listen, matriarch to matriarch.
That is bonker donkers.